Dear YouTube family, how are you? I hope you are fine and well. As you know that we have completed our last series, Alibaba and 40 Thieves. Now we are going to start another series, Robinson Crusoe. It is a very interesting series. You will like it. So let's begin the story.
I was born in 1932. My father was a merchant from Germany who met my mother in York, England. Her family name was Robinson, after whom I was called Robinson Crusoe. But by the usual corruption of words in England, we now call ourselves Crusoe. I had two older brothers. One, lieutenant colonel in an English regiment, was killed in a battle near Dunkirk. I do not know what became to my second brother. Father wanted me to study law, but I wanted nothing more than to go to sea. He told me that if I listened to him, I would be happy. He begged me not to travel the path that would lead to the miseries from which my family's social standing protected me. Robinson Crusoe, prepare to set sail. I frequently argued with my father and mother because they were vehemently opposed to what they knew I really wanted to do. Almost a year after they refused to consent to my wishes, I broke loose. I consulted neither father nor mother and did not send them word before I left, but left them to hear of my travels as they might. On 1st September 1651, I boarded a ship bound for London. I do not believe that any young adventurer's misfortunes began sooner or continued longer than mine.
Are you ready, my friend?
Oh, yes, let the grand adventure begin. The ship I boarded belonged to a friend's father. No sooner had the ship left the harbor than the wind began to blow, and the waves began to rise in a frightful manner. As I had never been at sea before, I was extremely sick and terrified. I expected every wave to swallow us up, and every time the ship fell down in the throne of the sea, I thought we could never rise again. In this agony of mind, I made many vows and resolutions. Please, God, spare my life to this voyage. If I ever set foot on upon dry land again, I will go directly home to my father, and I will never board a ship again as long as I live. These wise and sober thoughts continued all the time the storm lasted. But the next day the wind was abated and the sea calmer, and I began to settle in. Towards right, the weather cleared up and a charming evening followed. In that one night's revelatory, I forget all my repentance, all my reflections upon my past conduct, and all my resolutions for the future. When alone, I would reflect on my past, and the serious thoughts returned sometimes. But I shook them off, roused myself, and concentrated on having fun with others on board. But I didn't know that Another trail was on its way, and this time God decided to leave me in no doubt. It was evident that if I did not take that as a sign, then the next trial would be more dangerous than anyone could imagine. On my 18th day at sea, a terrible storm blew, and I began to see terror in the faces of the seamen.
You boy, go down below deck to help work to pump and make it before the ship sinks. Work with all your might, boys. Work faster. It will be of no use. The ship will soon fill with water and sink.
The sea went as high as mountain and broke upon us every 3 or 4 minutes. The captain had started firing the guns as a distress signal. Soon the light ship, which had survived the storm just ahead of us, sent a boat out to help us. With great difficulty, we all got safely to shore and walked on foot to Yarmouth. If I had gone back to Hull then, I would have been happy. But my ill fate pushed me on with an obstinacy that nothing could resist. My father, my friend, the master's son, who had helped me before, was a changed man. His tone was altered. Looking very sad, he told his father who I was and how I had only come on this voyage for a trial in order to travel further.
Young man, you should never go to sea again. Take what has happened as a message that you are not to be a suffering man.
Yes, sir.
You made this your voyage for the trial, and heaven has given you a taste of what you should accept if you persist. Perhaps this has happened to us because of you. I could not set foot on the same ship as you for £1,000.
I have no idea which way my friend and his father went. I had some money in my pocket, so I traveled to London by land. I was torn between going home and going to sea. I was too ashamed to go home. I thought about how I would be laughed at if I went home. Therefore, I decided to stay in London. I was lucky enough to fall into good company there, which does not always happen to such an unguided young fellows as I was. This is the young man I told you about, Captain Robinson. Come and hear all about the captain's recent voyage to Guiana. I took my immediate liking to the man and the tales of his travels and spent a lot of time with him.
I plan. I am planning to return to Guyana soon, Mr. Robinson Crusoe. Okay. I need a missmate, and companion. Would that be of interest to you?
Very much, sir.
Excellent. You do not need to pay anything for your travel, and if you have any money you would like to invest in trading, then any profit you make will be yours.
On our first voyage together, I took 40 pounds with worth of toys and trifles for trading. That venture was quite profitable and I earned 300 pounds. But my happiness was short lived. My friend died soon after our arrival home. He had taught me many of the things that a sailor must know, and I owed a great deal to him. I resolved to go on the same voyage again. Soon I set out on the same vessel with the man who was my friend's mate in the previous voyage. But before returning to Guyana, I visited my friend's widow and gave her 200 pounds to keep for them. I fell into terrible misfortunes on this second voyage. It began as our ship was making her course towards the Canary Islands. Early in the morning one day, we were surprised by a Turkish rover from Saleh. We moved away as fast as our sails would carry us, but the rover continued to follow us and come close. So we prepared to fight. But our ship was soon disabled, and with 3 of our men killed, 8 wounded, we had a surrender. We soon carried as prisoners into Saleh. As prisoners of the Moor raiders, the best we could hope for was that the fate would be merciful to us. We were taken as slaves. The crew of the ship were sent to the emperor's court. As for me, I had caught the eye of the rover's captain. He decided to take me as his personal slave. I hope my master would take me to sea with him so that I could be liberated if they were defeated by a Spanish or Portuguese ship. Alas, that was not to be. My master made me stay on land and tend to his estate. But I did go to sea while in his service, as I was quite a good fisherman. I was always accompanied by Molly, a kinsman of my master, and Zori, a young Mexico. They would man the oars together, and Molly made sure I stay in line. After 2 years into my forced servitude, an opportunity for freedom presented itself. My master had recently fitted the boat with a small stair room and stocked it with supplies in case of emergency.
I must prepare for my celebration this evening. Take the boat out and bring me a great haul of fish that will please my guests.
As you wish, master.
How?
I set my plan into motion and made sure we caught nothing. There are no fish here either, Molly. We need to go further into the sea if we want to catch anything today. After all, we cannot dare to return to the master empty-handed. It is the time to execute my plan. I took Molly by surprise and tossed him overboard into the sea. I have no hurt you, Molly. You swim well and the sea is calm. Make your way to shore and I will do you no harm. But if you come near the boat, I will shoot you through the head. Then I turned towards Zori.